Retired veteran Rambo just wants to grab a meal while passing through a small town, but the local Sheriff Teasel mistakes him for a drifter and gives him a hard time.
You know, wearing that flag on that jacket, looking the way you do, you're asking for trouble around here, friend.
He finds a knife on Rambo. Enraged, he arrests him on the spot. Rambo doesn't understand. He only wants something to eat. What law has he broken?
Is there any law against me getting something here?
Yeah, me.
Teasel brings him to the town's police station, preparing to formally charge him with vagrancy, carrying a concealed weapon, and resisting arrest. If convicted, Rambo faces 90 days in jail and a $250 fine. Chief Deputy Art Galt takes over the case. He tests the knife, razor sharp. When Galt asks for his name, Rambo stays silent.
If you're looking for trouble, you came to the right place, buddy.
The trauma of war has left him hyper-alert and wary of unfamiliar surroundings. He notices a small basement window. The sight triggers waves of traumatic memories, visions of being captured during the Vietnam War, locked in a dungeon, and subjected to brutal torture. Tension boils over.
You got 3 seconds before I break your face in.
Rambo is forced to comply, only to be mocked by Galt.
I'm starting to dislike you.
Galt, infuriated by his silence and refusal to be fingerprinted, snaps.
Put it down, goddammit!
He drags Rambo into the holding area. The moment Rambo takes off his shirt, the room falls silent. His body is covered in ghastly scars.
What the hell's he been into?
But Galt shows no sympathy. Offended by Rambo's continued defiance, he slams a baton across his back in punishment. Then, picking up a high-pressure hose, he blasts Rambo with freezing water. Just as he tries to stay grounded, another officer approaches with a straight razor, threatening to shave him.
That's okay, Warren. Don't worry about the soap. He's tough. Just shave him. Dry.
This triggers a final unbearable memory, a flash of steel cutting into his flesh on the battlefield. Something inside him breaks. Without warning, Rambo lets out a roar. He breaks free from their grip, hurling one deputy into the wall, kicking another aside, and smashing his head into a third. Chaos erupts throughout the station. In a matter of minutes, he has incapacitated 8 officers. Amid the confusion, Rambo retrieves his knife and bursts out of the station, snatches a motorcycle from a young man. He speeds off toward the dense wilderness that surrounds the town. The deputy, bruised and humiliated, fires at Rambo, watching helplessly as Rambo vanishes into the distance. What they don't know is that Rambo isn't just another retired soldier. Vietnam War veteran John Rambo, a former Green Beret and Medal of Honor recipient, possesses extraordinary survival and combat skills. He's come searching for one of the last surviving members of his unit. His journey brings him to the Pacific Northwest, where he visits the home of his comrade.
My name is John Rambo. We served on the same team together in Nam.
Only to be met with tragic news.
Delmar's gone. Died last summer.
His friend has died of cancer, the result of long-term exposure to Agent Orange during the war. At the time, anti-war sentiment is sweeping across the U.S. Men like Rambo, who have endured the horrors of the battlefield, return home not to honor or healing, but to scorn and rejection.
All that orange stuff that spread it around. Cut him down to nothing. I could lift him off the sheep.
Disheartened and lost, his aimless journey eventually leads him to the misty town of Hope, Washington, where all he wants is a meal. But instead, he's met with suspicion and harassment by a paranoid sheriff. Now, a fugitive, Rambo becomes the target of a full-scale manhunt. Sheriff Teasel sends his deputy to call for backup, while he himself gives chase by car. Rambo rides his motorcycle deep into the wilderness. He loses control and crashes the bike. Teasel pushes his patrol car through the narrow mountain trails. He crashes and loses sight of Rambo in the thick forest.
You're finished! You've gone as far as you're gonna go!
Teasel demands immediate support.
Tell them to bring the Dobermans. It's gonna rain. We'll need dogs that can hunt on sight. Right!
Soon, additional deputies arrive, bringing hunting dogs, rifles, and even a helicopter to flush Rambo out. In the mountains near an old abandoned truck, Rambo cuts a torn piece of cloth with his knife and fashions it into a makeshift cloak. When he reaches the summit, he's abruptly faced with a sheer cliff. Thanks to the dogs, the posse quickly picks up Rambo's trail. Trapped between the cliffs and the advancing lawman,
Hart, this is Teasel. He's headed for Chapman Gorge. Chapman Gorge! Head him off!
he begins descending the rocky wall. Chief Deputy Art Galt leans out with his rifle aimed directly at Rambo.
We're just supposed to spot him!
Despite orders to capture him alive, after all, he hasn't been convicted of any crime. Galt, driven by vengeance, tries to kill him.
You don't buy this thing, right?
I swear to God, I'll kill you.
He fires 3 times, each bullet narrowly missing. Realizing he's moments away from death, Rambo makes a split-second decision. As Galt prepares a 4th shot, Rambo throws himself off the cliff, aiming for a tall tree below, but lands hard, suffering a deep gash to his arm that begins bleeding heavily. Relentless, Galt instructs the pilot to lower the helicopter and continues to fire at Rambo. As Galt opens fire again, Rambo, now desperate, picks up a rock and hurls it at the aircraft. The impact cracks the windshield, startling the pilot. Galt, caught off guard, loses his balance and falls from the open doorway, killing him instantly. Looking down at Galt's lifeless body, a wave of guilt washes over him. Hearing the barks of approaching police dogs, Rambo acts quickly. He strips Galt's body of his uniform, takes his rifle and radio, and escapes to a secluded spot. He begins stitching his own wound shut. Meanwhile, up on the cliff, the officers spot Galt's corpse at the bottom. Just then, Rambo appears with his hands raised, trying to explain that it was an accident.
There's 1 man dead! It's not my fault!
But Teasel is deaf to reason. He opens fire without hesitation, forcing Rambo to flee into the mountains once more. Back at the station, Rambo's military file arrives.
John Rambo is a Vietnam vet. He's a Green Beret, Congressional Medal of Honor.
The younger deputies are stunned. This was no ordinary man. He had been shaped by the brutality of war.
I knew there was something about that guy.
They begin to realize that if Rambo chose to fight, they would stand no chance. But Teasel remains convinced that Rambo was alone, wounded, and more importantly, Galt's death demands retribution.
I'm gonna get that son of a bitch, and I'm gonna pin that Congressional Medal of Honor to his liver.
However, the forest is Rambo's domain. He knows Teasel won't give up easily, so he begins to prepare. He camouflages himself with branches and carves sharpened stakes with his combat knife to build traps. Teasel leads his men into the dense woods. Suddenly, a shadow moves through the trees. The officers immediately release one of their dogs, but after a few gunshots ring out, the dog yelps in pain. Silenced. Before they can react, gunfire erupts. The deputies scramble, dropping to the ground to return fire, only to discover their target is a decoy. Teasel urges the team onward, but suddenly, a scream pierces the forest. One officer has been stabbed in the leg, and in the chaos, one officer accidentally wounds his own comrade. In under 10 minutes, 4 deputies are down. Teasel, watching his squad fall apart, grows desperate. In a moment of distraction, he too is ambushed.
I could have killed them all. Don't push it. Let it go.
He gives Teasel a final warning and disappears once more into the forest. As soon as Teasel regains his composure, he calls in the National Guard. Over 200 personnel are swiftly deployed, and soon news crews arrive at the scene. Reporters, eager to sensationalize the story, exaggerate the narrative, painting Rambo as a ruthless killer.
He allegedly killed 1 deputy sheriff and tried to kill 6 others.
The commander of the state police, Dave, steps in, attempting to take control of the operation.
Don't give me any of your horse shit about jurisdiction in this one, you understand?
However, Teasel stubbornly refuses, insisting on capturing Rambo himself. From a fellow officer, Dave learns that Rambo has been beaten and mistreated while in custody at the police station.
Galt and a couple of deputies were a little hard on the guy.
Teasel remains unmoved. He insists that if Galt has crossed a line, it should have been handled by due process.
And if I find out it's like he says, I kicked the deputy's ass. Me. The law. That's the way it's gotta be.
But in his eyes, Rambo has no justification for killing anyone. While Teasel is coordinating the next strike, a new figure arrives at the command tent, Colonel Sam Trautman. He introduces himself as Rambo's former commanding officer, sent by the U.S. military to retrieve him. Teasel, however, rejects the idea.
Rambo's a civilian now. He's my problem.
But Trautman, with a calm and slightly mocking tone, makes it clear that Teasel doesn't grasp the gravity of the situation.
I didn't come here to rescue Rambo from you. I came here to rescue you from him.
Trautman has trained Rambo personally during the Vietnam War and understands better than anyone the kind of man they're dealing with. He's a survivalist, a guerrilla warfare expert, and a seasoned assassin who has carried out covert missions deep in enemy territory.
In Vietnam, his job was to dispose of enemy personnel. Well, Rambo was the best.
Trautman warns that if they continue to push Rambo, it will end in catastrophe. Instead, Trautman urges Teasel to de-escalate. Rambo can be tracked down later.
In a couple of weeks, you'll pick him up in Seattle or someplace working in a car wash. There'll be no fight and nobody else will get hurt.
Teasel remembers the fear he feels when Rambo has a knife to his throat. So, he compromises, giving Trautman a chance to try to reach out to Rambo via Galt's stolen radio. At this point, Rambo doesn't rush to flee the mountains. Instead, he hunts wild boar and takes refuge in an abandoned mine.
Cover leader calling Raven.
But when he hears Colonel Trautman's voice crackling through the radio, memories of Vietnam come flooding back, jolting him awake. Trautman, hoping to appeal to their shared bond, urges Rambo to surrender and walk out of the mountains alive.
Let me come in and get you the hell out of there.
But Rambo refuses.
There wouldn't be no trouble except for that king shit cup.
All I wanted was something to eat.
He condemns the sheriff for starting the bloodshed, for drawing first blood.
The man kept pushing, sir.
They drew first blood, not me.
He reminds the colonel that he's the only survivor from his unit. He has nothing left to lose.
Baker team, they're all dead, sir. I'm the last one, sir.
With that, he cuts off the transmission. While Trautman's warning falls on deaf ears, Sheriff Teasel feels triumphant. He has cleverly used Rambo's radio transmission to trace his location.
It's all finished, Colonel.
Acting on the coordinates, a capture team quickly discovers the entrance to an old mine. However, Rambo has anticipated them. He hides himself in a nearby stream. Once the coast is clear, he silently emerges and slips into the forest. As he makes his escape through the woods, he unexpectedly comes across a young boy out hunting with a rifle. Rambo disarms the boy without harming him, but the child screams and runs to his father. The commotion catches the attention of the nearby forces. The soldiers and police track Rambo back to the same mine where he has taken shelter the previous night. Upon hearing this, Sheriff Teasel immediately boards a helicopter and orders that Rambo be captured alive.
And no shooting. I don't want him dead, I want him alive.
However, the National Guard officer in charge ignores the command. A firefight erupts inside the mine, but facing someone with Rambo's combat experience, they are quickly overwhelmed.
I want you to go into that mine. Look, I do this part-time. I didn't come here to get killed.
Realizing brute force is futile, the soldiers resort to more drastic measures. They bring in a rocket launcher and fire it directly into the mine's entrance. To those outside, Rambo is presumed dead. When Teasel arrives by helicopter and sees the soldiers taking a group photo on the ruins, he flies into a rage.
Damn it! What the hell do you think this is? Some kind of a circus? Get the hell out of here!
He demands that the guard clear the wreckage and recover Rambo's body. He then turns to Trautman with smug satisfaction.
Thought you said he was the best you ever trained.
Mocking Rambo's reputation and expressing only one regret, that he hasn't caught him alive to make him suffer.
He killed a police officer, for Christ's sake!
You're goddamn lucky he didn't kill all of you.
With the supposed threat eliminated, the National Guard begins to pack up and withdraw. But Trautman remains behind. His instincts tell him it's not over. And he's right. Long before the rocket strikes, Rambo's sensing the impending danger. He retreats deeper into the mine. The further he goes, the tighter the space becomes. After enduring the grueling journey, he finally discovers an exit. From a slope above the mountain road, Rambo watches as a National Guard convoy passes by. Timing his move, he leaps onto the canvas cover of one of the trucks and takes control of the driver.
What do you got in the back, Robert A?
M60.
He forces the driver to abandon the vehicle and then hijacks it. The fleeing driver is soon picked up by a passing police vehicle. News that Rambo is still alive spreads like wild.
That Rambo guy is on the loose again.
Driven by fury and a thirst for vengeance, Rambo roars out of the mountains and heads straight for town. Along the way, he evades a pursuing police car by ramming it off the winding road. He crashes through a police roadblock and enters Hope under the cover of darkness. Understanding that a direct assault on the police station would be futile, he creates a diversion. He destroys a gas station in a massive explosion, then sets nearby buildings ablaze. As officers scramble to respond to the chaos, Rambo seizes the opportunity. With the M60 in hand, he unleashes a barrage of gunfire on the town's power grid, plunging the entire area into darkness. Sheriff Teasel panics. It's then that he truly realizes Trautman's earlier warnings weren't exaggerations.
You're gonna die, Teasel.
Everybody dies.
He climbs onto the roof of the sheriff's station with a rifle in hand. Meanwhile, Rambo moves stealthily through the night. Hiding in the shadows at a street corner, he first guns down the nearby streetlights and electrical boxes, cloaking the entire area in darkness. Then, he breaks into the gun store across from the station, pile up all the explosives and ammunition, and then fire them on fire, lure Teasel into peeking over the rooftop wall, exposing his position. Rambo storms toward the sheriff's building, firing as he goes. Teasel crouches behind the low wall of the roof. He aims at the stairwell as a shadow flickers past and fires, but misses. A moment later, bullets tear through the ceiling from below. Rambo's gunfire strikes him repeatedly. and the sheriff collapses from the rooftop in a heap.
Crazy! Rambo!
As Rambo approaches to deliver the final blow, Colonel Trautman appears.
It's over!
Rambo, trembling with rage,
Nothing is over!
he shouts that it's not supposed to be this way, that the real war has never ended.
It's all in the past now.
For you! For me, civilian life is nothing!
In front of the only man who has ever understood him, Rambo breaks down, weeping uncontrollably. He fought for the country, but the country abandoned him. The people at home regarded them as killers.
And I come back to the world, and I see all those maggots at the airport protesting me, spitting.
Rambo hurls the M60 to the ground and clutches his face, sobbing. Trautman remains silent, watching the broken man before him. Then come the stories Rambo has buried for years. A friend torn to pieces by a shoe shine box wired with explosives. A trap set by a child. His buddy's body explodes in front of him.
Fucking blew his body all over the place. He's laying there, he's fucking screaming, there's pieces of him all over me. Just it's my friend that's all over me!
Blood splattering all over Rambo. The soldier doesn't die instantly. With his last breaths, he whispers about wanting to go home.
No one help me say, I want to go home, Johnny. I want to drive my Chevy. I said, well, what? I can't find your fucking legs.
That memory haunts him. It has never gone away. In Vietnam, Rambo pilots helicopters, drives tanks, and handles equipment worth millions. Back home, he can't even land a job parking cars. Only then does Trautman see just how shattered Rambo has become. Trautman's lips tremble. Slowly, he steps forward and reaches out. In the final moments, Rambo, drained of all fight, collapses into Trautman's arms and surrenders. The colonel leads him out of the station quietly, as federal agents take him into custody. Teasel, wounded but alive, is loaded into an ambulance. As the rain begins to fall over the quiet town of Hope, the war that Rambo never wants finally comes to an end.